I got it. Allison's
Okay.
back. She's putting the live stream back on and give us 10 seconds.
It seems like it's on.
Yeah, okay.
So, a motion to, home leasing first, okay? This loan is for, $500,000, for the Hickey Freeman property. 1% is the, fixed rate. It's a 15-year loan. Am I right? Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. We need a motion, to move that.
So I
Motion to
will,
approve, Joe Rizzo.
Who second?
Dave Brooks will second.
Dave Brooks was second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so that carries, okay? I get all these car washes mixed up, so just give me a minute here. Of course, I go to Delta. Frontier Car Wash. This loan is for,
Honey,
yes,
I think we want to be more generic in our description.
okay. Frontier Car Wash. We need a motion to move, at the request of the loan committee to approve this loan.
I'll make a motion, Peter, for the car wash.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain, Phil Smith.
Jeff
Phil
Parker
abstains.
also abstains.
Okay, we've got those abstentions there. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So these are passed right here, and
Thank you.
yes, all right. So Zach, it looks like you're gonna be here for a long time, brother. We get the governance committee report, and you possibly you'll be sharing the stage here with Lydia.
I'll let
Zach?
Lydia do.
Zach,
Most
can you
of it.
take this over? All right.
Sure. Well, in summary, the governance committee met last week and reviewed the conflict of interest policy, succession plan, internal control risk rating, loan review report, and smart audit report. The committee recommends that the full board adopt all of the above that I mentioned, but Lydia will really go into the details of each of those.
Thank you. So these are all really requirements as a result of the SMART audit, which you've all received. First recommendation from the SBA is conflict of interest policy. So this is a supplemental policy to our existing policy that is in compliant with the PAAA requirements. Really relates more specifically to SBA activity. We distributed late yesterday a revised policy that had some amendments recommended by the committee. You have that in your email. Fairly straightforward. Again, that relates really primarily to the SBA activity. So all board members will be requested to sign this, and all staff at hiring. So anybody have any questions? Ella had some very good suggestions at our governance committee meeting, and we've incorporated those.
Could you remind us what those were?
Yes, there was in section 5, they were saying that we could accept gifts, gratuities, and favors. And so we added not to that comment. And then at the very end, we added a comment that said section E in item 7, and that is additionally, a board member should seek guidance from counsel or the SBA if there's a question of conflict.
Any questions for Lydia on the conflict of interest policy? And I think when we get done with all of the reviews here, then we'll accept those all together as a package.
Our next item is a succession plan, so it really is just a one-page item. It really outlines in the case of an extended absence of any the executive director or the CDC manager or any board officer, what the next steps would be in terms of responsibility flow. This is a requirement. They're asking us to do this. It's, in our case, it's somewhat unusual because the majority of us are county employees. And so it really would fall under the county, but we articulated that in terms of staff, and then for the board, just outlined that, you know, the vice president would take action if the president wasn't available, you know, and secretary treasurer went down the line. Any questions on that? So the next item is the internal control and risk rating policy. So this is something that we did approve in 2017. Tony took the lead on this and modified it. In particular, brought it up to classifications that we're using. I mean, the narrative's still the same, but this now matches the numbering that you see in every approval package or loan package that you see. The additions are on page 59, and they are that the CDC manager is responsible for establishing and maintaining risk ratings. They would be me. The executive director would resolve any disagreements over the risk ratings and discussion about that. And we will review monthly all risk ratings and classifications and upgrade them appropriately with a detailed review quarterly. So we'll commence that. Well, we're monitoring pretty closely right now, but we'll report it in a more formalized fashion to the board every month. And then our loan review, which we distributed earlier to you. This is the loan review report. Dave Richards, you'll recall we hired to do the loan review. We are required to do one every 2 years by the SBA standard. If you look on page 76, this is our response to the review. He had no findings, only recommendations, which were good. We were shy on our having our hazard insurance up to date, and we're going to make a better effort on that. Essentially, what this whole response is talks about when we request our annual financial statements, which is also the time we distribute the 1098, 1099s, we will ask for additional information from the borrower and follow for that. It's as you all know, requesting financial information from borrowers is sometimes a lengthy process, but we will continue to work on that and improve. He also suggested that we verify that PPP and EIDL loans were forgiven. We did in our annual review this year incorporate any cash flows that were required under those. So we noted that PPPs were forgiven, but we didn't articulate it probably as clearly as we could have. We did note that though in our reviews. And we will report any activity of the board that we see as out of the ordinary. Also, in part of that annual review process, we're going to better document our real property tax reviews to assure that people have paid their taxes. So, and then lastly is the SMART audit response, which really is everything we've just talked about. We've just kind of articulated it in a bullet format. We'll attach the policies to the response, and this is due at the SBA on the 19th of this month. So we will be tying up the last details of the report and submitting it. Again, you'll recall we had no findings, which was great, only some recommendations. We have incorporated those, updated some policies, and our big goal is to get everything automated. So the next time we can do a loan review virtually, that's, I think, the big recommendation there.
Any questions for Lydia? So we've got 5 review and approve what we're going to be voting on. So I'm just going to read those again, and then I'm going to ask for a motion to approve them all. Is that all right with the board? Okay, the first one is review and approve SBA conflict of interest policy. The second one is going to be review and approve MCIDC succession plan. The third would be review and approve internal control risk rating policy. And the fourth would be review and approve response to loan review. And the fifth one is review and approve response to the SBA smart audit. And I'm asking for a motion to pass all of these.
I'll move.
Dave Brooks will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Lydia, good job.
Thank you.
You could take us into the portfolio classified loan report.
We reviewed this in executive session, just briefly. This is where we stand as of October 31st. We'll update it again likely early next year.
Okay,
And the watch list loans are typically those that were in service at the time of the pandemic and asked for deferments, primarily because of, there was concern on their part for the impact of the pandemic on their business. So in the majority of these are 5-year deferments. So they had 6 months of deferment and then they do catch-up payments after that. So everybody's on board and making payments. So I'm glad to report that.
okay. Monroe Manufacturing Rewards and Temporary Program. Anna.
Thank you. And I'm going to speak for a minute, and I'll also, if it's okay, Lydia, I know you've been talking a lot, but if I can leverage your wisdom and expertise here. So last meeting we floated the idea of asking the board to approve a special temporary program for the restaurant operators that have set up shop at the Sibley building downtown on Main Street in the Mercantile facility. These are all local proprietors, several MWBE proprietors there at the Mercantile. We had in the past approved a temporary program for businesses operating within the commissary, which is an adjacent food and beverage incubator facility, kind of part of the same ecosystem. The reason why we were asking the board to approve this program is because these businesses were established during or close to the start of the pandemic, thus making them ineligible for any CARES Act support. So these approximately 10 or 11 businesses did not qualify for Fast Forward Monroe grants that we're currently executing through CARES Act. And they're not the only businesses that are ineligible for that CARES Act funding. There are lots of businesses throughout the area and everywhere that were established near to the pandemic and don't qualify. So anyhow, in discussions with the Sibley, the Sibley building. I confused the Sibley building with the Hickey Freeman building this morning. In discussions with the Sibley building leaders, Jerry DeMarco, Ken Green, who's in charge of tenant relations there. Lydia came up with this idea to perhaps come up with a temporary repositioning of our Monroe Manufacturing Rewards program, such that the proprietors at the Mercantile, which are struggling right now, could benefit from getting a small cash injection, $1,000 or $2,000 approximately, in exchange for if they could show proof of purchase of a piece of equipment. This has been met with some pushback from Ken Green and Jerry DeMarco on behalf of the proprietors. They want more funds, justify, because the Fast Forward Monroe Grant Program at a minimum offers grants of approximately $10,000. However, I indicated that, this is the best that we can do using local funds through MCIDC, where we have, limited flexibility and limited funds relative to the hundreds of millions of dollars that the county has received through CARES and ARPA. So anyhow, this is somewhat of a compromise and a stroke of creativity on Lydia's behalf. And we don't know to what extent it would be taken advantage of by those businesses at the Mercantile, given it seems like some consternation about the funding amounts. So I'd love to have just a conversation with the board about this, and ultimately ask for your approval. This is, the word temporary is something that we should emphasize here this morning. This is not something that we would establish in perpetuity. And with that, I'd love to ask you, Lydia, just for some color commentary to kind of, because I know you met directly with those folks.
We did, we met with them and understood they, so they all had committed to the project prior to the pandemic, and then the pandemic came along, right? So I think the important thing to note is that also, in addition to this, the governor announced yesterday that there's going to be a program for businesses that started during the pandemic, recognizing that CARES Act dollars are not available to those folks. So the state is going to have a program that is going to be a grant program, I believe. They'll have an application process, and I imagine it'll start up fairly soon. So that was kind of late breaking news that will supplement this program.
Where is the I'm finding it hard to see where the compromise is here. It's like, I think you characterize this as a stroke of genius, but it sounds like take it or leave it.
I said stroke of creativity.
Oh, creativity. I'm sorry. I was sleeping.
So it would be $2,000 for qualifying operators within the Mercantile, as opposed to, I think what their ultimate goal is you get $10,000.
Right.
And
so this would go for equipment?
Yes, we'd structure just like we do our manufacturing reward. They have to show an invoice and proof of payment, and then we would issue them a check.
So you can get a set of knives.
Right.
yeah,
Well, they will have expended the dollars already. Hopefully they get a little bit more than a set of knives, but so what we do
nice
have from
knives.
them is information on what they've spent, right?
Yeah.
So the majority of them have spent under $50,000.
I guess my thought is this here, and I understand our position of why we can't do more or anything else like that, but I don't think we also go to anyone's table and sort their sensitivities and sensibilities. If this is all that we can do, is there some other way to find other resources that can match that?
hopefully the state program will answer that question for them.
Okay,
You know, what we tried to do is we wanted to structure something that we could monitor in a way that we monitor our other programs.
mhm,
And we asked them for a list of expenditures, so we knew what their investment was in equipment. It
right.
really sort of does align with what we have done historically. I don't think they're necessarily interested in a low interest loan program. That might be the only other thing that we would be able to do for them.
Right.
So I might be mischaracterizing this here. They're happy to take the $2,000, what we would call it, temporary rewards program.
Right. It's cash on the table and it's better than not receiving any funding at all.
Okay,
So we want to make sure to emphasize the term temporary because we can't, if we made this a longer term program, that might cause some challenges.
And we didn't put a cap on it.
how long is the term
Well,
when we
we
say temporary?
will be able to apply by year end and we'll get them dollars shortly thereafter, if not before. So we'd be looking for applications to come in from them by year end.
Anyone else?
Is there any total cap on the dollars?
Yes, we said $30,000
30,000. Thank
for
you.
the program.
Thank you.
How many businesses
we're
are on
making-
there? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, making this available for one project, don't we run the risk of getting bad press for other projects where they also have maybe not started in time for the other program?
Well, I think that's, you know, there's always, I think the issue here is that these are truly restaurant loans, restaurant businesses, and they don't qualify for CARES Act, right? Because they had committed to the project and only one was established prior to the cutoff for the CARES Act. So we have a group of businesses who invested in this project that has been going on, as we know, for many, many years, redevelopment of the vacant Sibley building, and are in that restaurant space, which was through state requirements, not able to operate for a while. And then when they did, the startup was slow because a number of people were not downtown with the traffic flow that they had. So we're not aware of any other restaurants that are in this space.
How many restaurants?
So we
we're
haven't been
talking about?
approached, approached by other startup restaurants that
We have
aren't
not,
in this space.
not that I'm aware of.
Right. And this is a unique space and a unique facility, given that the overall redevelopment of Sibley was a priority project for the Finger Lakes Regional Economic Development Council. It's been underway for 10, going on really almost 12 years. And the mercantile facility, it's unique relative to other restaurants in the area, just given the fact all of the stakeholders that are involved, the state, the city, the county through COMITA. So doing something to ensure the viability of the space as a destination on Main Street in light of everything that's going on with downtown revitalization, and the fact that the proprietors again are all local and majority MWBE. So that's why we're giving them kind of this special window, developing a program just for the mercantile versus every single food and beverage proprietor that may or may not have opened up.
Which we're not aware of any.
Right.
So the cap is $30,000. How many restaurants are in the mercantile?
So I think I think there's up to 10 or 11, but we received information from 8.
Okay,
So when we requested that they supply us information on what their expenses had been, so we better understood.
Is this for new equipment that they're gonna purchase before December 31st or equipment they've already purchased?
Right, they could purchase, so typically how we use the manufacturing rewards program is that you can apply and then you have, in this case, we'll probably look back farther because of the time frame and the purpose of the program to cover the pandemic period, and then we usually let folks have 90 days out to buy equipment. So, but they would have to apply prior to 12/31.
wow.
And then we would get them in our system and allocate the funds for them because we would know what they expect to spend.
So what do you need here? Approval, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see how we make this into a motion to approve a temporary program for Monroe Manufacturing Rewards. This is you said by December 31st, this will be over with, right?
They have to apply by then, yes.
Oh, this is temporary then. Okay.
They've all invested their funds by now. I don't think that'll be an issue.
Propose a motion.
Motion to approve the Monroe Manufacturing Rewards temporary program of up to $30,000 through December 31st, 2021 for restaurants. For
I'll move
restaurants.
that.
Need a second.
I'll second Zach.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, any abstentions? All right,
Thank
gonna
you.
go down there and eat today and see what's going on.
Yes.
They do have good food.
Mhm.
Going down there at 12 today, see what the deal is. I've heard it's real
Thank you.
nice in there.
Thank you.
The ABO bond review, Anna?
Thank you. Yes. So the authority's budget office within the Office of the State Comptroller was in communication with us about some discrepancies in our bond review, some numbers that didn't match. This required some forensic Excel work. Quinn Secreta, who joined us somewhat recently, who's here with us this morning, assisted Robin Finnerty in that effort, and we have crossed the finish line. And I'm going to let Robin wax poetic about the soup to nuts of that story and answer any questions that you might have.
Can't see me. Hi. So just a reminder, like Anna said, when we submitted our Paris report last April 1st, they got back to us a few weeks later telling us it was a few months later, telling us there was a discrepancy in our numbers for our bond reporting. We did some internal analysis and kind of think that the issue was a little larger than what we had originally thought. So last month, if you recall, we told you that we were going to contract with Harris Beach to kind of take a good look at what was going on with all the bonds. And we did that. And Harris Beach came up with 10 specific bonds that are there discrepancies as of 12/31/20. We have then provided all that information to the authority's budget office. And we are now just waiting for their guidance on how they would like us to proceed and handle it. But we're kind of hoping that they'll tell us that this 2020 is going to be like a correction year for us and that we will move forward, have everything kind of cleared, balanced the way it should be and be moving forward. We can tell you in staff, this is a big lesson learned. I'm not going to dwell on why we think this happened or, to point anybody out, but we do have a plan in place going forward on how we're gonna make sure this does not happen again.
Any questions?
Sounds
Comments?
like you're responsible, Robin, the way you articulated that. you know? Well, listen, keep us posted on that, and
Will do.
we're hoping that everything turns out good with that. I got a little other business here. Next month is our annual meeting, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
So we're not going to do it virtual. We're going to come together and have a little gathering.
As of right now, we were still planning to have it virtual unless the board would like to do otherwise.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Any thoughts?
The county executive is planning on attending virtually, I think regardless. Just by, on a related note, the county legislature just announced that they're going fully virtual through at least the end of the year. So, but this board that has the discretion to, we can all come together in person and mark the end of the year. We certainly haven't had too many opportunities to be in the same room with one another since the pandemic started. So we'll leave it up to all of you.
I guess virtual is all right then. I wasn't aware. Doesn't seem as though that we have anyone wants to come out of the home next month. I think we heard about the winter storm. The winter storm in December.
Yes.
All right. Well, if that's it, we got any other business that?
I'm just hoping to float with the county executive that, so we've had some candidates interested in serving this board, approach our team, with their resumes in hand, wanting to serve. And the county executive has the ability to appoint new members. We have 11 board members right now, the ability to appoint up to 25. 25 is kind of a pretty big number. So we're hoping, if that's a little unruly, we might not want to get all the way to 25. But anyhow, I'm planning on addressing that with the county executive and seeing if he himself with his team has any candidates in mind. And I'll also be sharing the information with him about those individuals who've approached us with interest in serving. So just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. If there's not anything else, go ahead.
I had a quick question. I apologize if this is already across. Did we ever complete the purchase of those Redco loans, the portfolio that we were purchasing from the city?
It's still underway. I'm going to let Lydia address the question.
So we have submitted information to the SBA about that. There was, we had a meeting with Redco and some very senior SBA officials. The city needed to revise their resolution, which they did do. And then our local branch did submit a revised request. We've needed to submit some additional information. We're just wrapping that up in terms of our county contract. And so it's still not yet finalized. We'll let you know.
You think it would be a this year occurrence?
I think it's possible.
Okay.
I don't, so, what we know is the SBA is totally still working virtual with, folks are coming in the office once a day. I think they have coverage, as an example, in the district office. I think one person's going in once or twice a week. So that does, I think, kind of impede their ability to get some things done as timely as they had in the past. And they had articulated that to us early on. So that's not a surprise. We're hopeful.
Great.
But we don't have a definitive answer for you.
Great. Thanks, Lydia. The only other thing I had is, Anna, I just wanted to ask, I know a bunch of folks put so much effort into the Women's Center.
Yes.
And that was awarded to the Urban League, but I guess my question is, is there an ongoing role of support that this board might play?
Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Peter. And I just want to commend once again Bridget O'Brien and Raquel Michael Castillo for their hard work and dedication in putting forth a really rock solid submission. My understanding, we were very much a contender as a result of their work. Yes, we are planning on, now that the announcement has been made public, we have an existing contractual relationship with the Urban League. They're partnered with us and the county to help administer the Fast Forward Monroe grants. So, and the same individual who's going to be running the Women's Business Center division is involved in that effort. So I am going to be setting up a meeting between myself and Lydia and Bridget and Raquel and their team so that we can discuss partnership and collaboration. Certainly for all of the same reasons that we wanted to apply for the Women's Business Center grant, we would like to partner with the Urban League now such that we can leverage that resource in the community, because we'd love to be able to support more women entrepreneurs and connect those entrepreneurs with technical assistance in the community, which is an area that we're still trying to build up within our portfolio here at MCIDC and in the Planning and Development Department. So thank you for bringing that up. I'll certainly be reporting back to the board about the status of that effort. They're still launching their Women's Business Center, and we want to give them some time to kind of get through the logistics, and then we'd love to work with them.
Thanks, Hannah. Sorry, Henny, for the interruption.
No, that's okay. If you want to stay a little longer, we can. I don't have anything until 10 o'clock. But if there's not anything else, we thank everyone for coming out this morning and or at least tuning in to Zoom. I'm sorry. I just want to get out of the house, I guess. But we need a motion to adjourn.
Dave Brooks.
Second?
Zach Phillips.
Boy, this is hard to get you guys to do these motions and it's this morning. Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys.